Hello and welcome to the Afri-Dominion Show. My name is Freeman Singirankabo, and thank you so very much for tuning into our program today. Those of you joining us live, especially if you're joining us live from the social media, be it private or public social medias, welcome. Welcome, welcome. We are so thrilled that you can find some time out of your busy schedule. Those of you having lunch or those of you who are doing God knows what, welcome. We are super thrilled, guys, for the opportunity to come in front of you. Welcome to those of you also joining us live and following straight from your local televisions and radio stations. We are super excited, guys, for the opportunity to also come in front of you and to come to your audios and having this eccentric and amazing time, an amazing opportunity to come in front of you guys. It is incredible. It is incredible, but also at the same time, it is an opportunity of a lifetime, because this time that we are living in, guys, it's such a difficult time. And it's also the most exciting time to all of you guys. And it is for this reason I'm also happy to let you know, guys, that the conversation we have here at Afri-Dominion is the conversation that we have decided to have with you truthfully, boldly, and with no apologies. Why? Because the issues that we discuss with you guys, these are the issues that we care very deeply about. We care them so much, and want to make sure that nothing out of the conversation that we have here gets to be amiss. We want to make sure that however it is we say it, it's how we have it within our hearts. It's a big deal to us. And for those reasons, guys, I also want you to know that everything that we're discussing here, we're discussing it in the spirit of truth, love, and trust. And these are the benchmarks by which we hope that each and every one of you guys following this conversation is going to measure both the validity and the truthfulness of everything we're discussing here. I would love each and every one of you to call us out on anything that you found to be erroneous, anything that you found to be out of order. It can be live. We are live broadcasting right now from to your television stations, to your radio station, also on the internet. So there are plenty of ways that you can get in touch with us right now as it happens, so that there won't be any one of you who might say, how do I get in touch with these people? So this is a live conversation, and I am telling you right now, welcome. Those of you who are on social media, in particular, you are free to join a conversation straight from our Zoom connection. If you go to, I believe if you are on YouTube and if you are also on Facebook, those are the two public platforms that we're doing live broadcast on. If you go under the description, you will find the Zoom link, and welcome. Welcome and come and have a saying. Those of you using private networks or private platforms, we also have made the ways for you guys to connect. If you look under the description as well, you guys would be able to find the Zoom link, and you can join us live as it happens, because this is a live conversation. We'd like it to have this way, so that whatever it is we say, we're on the record and everybody is on the record. Are we together? And so with that in mind, guys, I also want to make sure that I really tell you that this is an opportunity of a lifetime that we have, because beforehand, we never used to have an opportunity to come in front of you and to say what we wanted to say, to speak our hearts. But now we have that opportunity. And thanks to HMG Network and affiliates for literally broadcasting our signal. We know how hard it is to put together a program. We know how hard it is that all the technicians, everybody behind the scene are, how hard you guys are working so hard. So we are super grateful and very humble for this opportunity to come and actually share with our brothers and sisters the things most important to our lives. And it is for those reasons that I want to go right ahead and let you know, how do you get in touch with us? For the rest of you, if you either on television, radio station, and you want to have a saying, and you want to say something about this program, please visit our website, which is at www.afridominion.com. When you arrive there, you are going to find our telephone number, our social media handler, especially the public ones, and you also will have our email. Literally, we do not hide. We are here publicly because we want to serve the people. We also want to serve you. We want you to have a chance to actually come in and speak to the people as well. So our main email is info@afridominion.com. Info@afridominion.com. You can find our phone numbers there. Feel free, if you do not have, if you don't have the means to connect straight to our Zoom, we can also pick your video from any source that you saw choose. We literally have attempted to diversify our technology here, that we can actually get everybody. Doesn't matter where you are, as long as you let us know. While it's happening, we have technicians on standby. They will accommodate you, because this is a special season that we are in. This is a special hour, and we want to make sure that none of you have an excuse to say that you didn't have a means to get through the studio. All right. And with that in mind, I also would love each and every one of you who will find this program helpful to come and help us out. This is a program that is 100% fully financed by you viewers, us brothers and sisters. We are responsible for the program. We are responsible for its finance. We are responsible for everything. And broadcast, it's a funny business, guy, and a very tough business. Do you know why you don't see many, an average person broadcast? Because it costs millions of dollars to broadcast. It costs a lot of money to put shows together. So I want you to get to understand that when you have a big microphone that reaches the entire planet, not just your little local city, it's a game changer. And so it is now our time to have that voice also, to say what we want to say, to come to your living room, and for you to have an interaction with us in real time. So we are super grateful for the opportunities, for the opportunity to come forward. And we are very grateful for all the stakeholders who have made this program a reality. And with that in mind, guys, feel free to join in, feel free to come through anytime, because we only have a very specific amount of time that we are going to do the broadcast on. So I would want that each and every one of you come in right now, because it's a special day anyway. And with that in mind, guys, I also want to let those of you who have no idea what this program is about, so that I just break it down right quick for about a couple minutes only. If this is for you, stick around. If it's not for you, goodbye, respectfully, because we want to waste nobody's time, and we also don't want our time to be wasted. All right, so it's gonna be a mutual understanding, and we will have to reciprocate with you guys, and I will also do the same thing as well. So those of you who are not familiar of what this show is and what it isn't, I want to make sure that it's clear. So Afri-Dominion as a show and Afri-Dominion as a concept. So what is Afri-Dominion? Afri-Dominion, it's an idea that inspires, advocates, and encourages, even goes to the extent of helping each and every one of you, brothers and sisters, take the full control, the full dominion of Africa, one nation at a time. By you, the sons, daughters, and African descendants, all in the interest of Africa and African people first and foremost, and then the rest of the world afterwards. So the show, Afri-Dominion show, it's a mouthpiece of that idea, which means that everything that we program here, you can expect that the show is always going to be inspiring. It is going to absolutely advocate on behalf of the voiceless, brothers and sisters. And it is always going to be encouraging. Everything we have here should be in alignment with those things. And we also go to the extent of also get down to acting, not just talking. We help you guys literally in action plans. We help you take over, take back what is rightfully yours. Take back that dominion of Africa and African resources. You, sons and daughters. And we make sure that we reverse the course that's being so detrimental to all our brothers and sisters for centuries that have passed on. And so with that in mind, I hope that if you hear, you understand what we are about here. And you also know we're not about here. And I can't really stress that, I cannot stress that enough, but that's literally what we are up to. A huge welcome to those of you guys, and I see some of you already on social media popping in. I see those of you straight from YouTube, those of you from Facebook, those of you from the private networks as well. Greetings to all of you guys. And it's really a humbling experience and a humbling time right now to come in front of you guys. And I wouldn't want to have it any other way but this, guys. And thanks for the love. So I want to make sure also that you get to understand the broadcast we have on Mondays all the way to Friday. It's a broadcast that has 5 different themes because we have 5 business days that we get to do broadcast. On Mondays we have a unique theme: Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Friday. Now I'll give you a quick brief of those themes and how we package the rest of the program in there. Because it's really important that you guys get to know it and also get to know where you can find yourself comfortable, and you come in and you talk to the people. By the way, this is why I love this station. This is a little side note on the side. This is the people station. It's not an exclusive station, which means the programs at Free Dominion, if you have an idea, if you have something you wanna discuss, you wanna pull out to our brothers and sisters globally, you are more than welcome to come through. And you can talk to the people. You do not have to know me. You do not have to know our producer. You do not have to be a special kind of person. I mean, you're special already because you're a king and a queen and all of that, granted. But beyond that, you don't have to know me personally. Just reach out to the studio from the contacts that's in public, and let them know that you have something important that you'd like to share with the rest of the public, and they will hear you out. So going back to our themes, on Mondays we talk about the eradication of refugees and stateless persons. These are African specifically, because we only focus on African people and African affairs. On Tuesdays we talk about the Constitution, law and policy review and implementation. Guys, everything we talk about here, it is purposely being selected because it is literally having an adverse let me put it this way, it is literally having an effect on our people and the continent. While this is not an exhausting programming that we have, or programs, we are open to make them bigger and larger depending on whatever it is that we're talking about. On Wednesdays, we get to talk about our testimony. I love Wednesdays. We get to pull our heart out. We get to write our history our own way. We do not need nobody to tell us how to write our own history. You already know you. So why should you need me to come and tell you about you? I can never know the depth of you as a person. Only you can. But we get to have that opportunity to help one another, to actually tell our history, to write our own history. We know that Africa has a very rich history, but it's been purposely buried. Purposely buried. And the reason behind it's one of the things that we get to talk about here. And that is why we're encouraging each and every one of you guys to pick up where we have left. To pick up where the ancestors have literally left back years ago. Each and every one of you who's adding a break, pick up where he or she has just left and keep it up. Build upon that. Do not destroy. Keep on building, and keep on building. And we are going to get it done one way or the other. Guys, it's a fact. It is a fact. It's going to get done. On Thursdays, we get to talk about the spirit of dominion. What is dominion? That spirit of dominion, it's a spirit of leadership. It's spirit of governorship, spirit of rulership, that spirit of management. You being able to take full control, full management, and full responsibility of your own affairs and of your own, and of your own homeland. No excuses, which means you mess it up is on you. You do well, it's also on you. Be happy when you do well. Also, accept to be corrected when you got it wrong. And it's been it's been the time for us to take charge of Africa. But none of it is going to come and fall in your lap. You're going to have to put some work in. You will have to do the things that are not necessarily very sexy for you to do. Times you're going to be crying, times you're going to be complaining, times you're going to just not even wanting to do any of it, because every day is different. We live in seasons. You got to know your season, and you got to do what you got to do in your own season. And so you kings and queens, you got to be able to be in the right position to take charge that which is rightfully yours. That's where we come in. And we apologize to no one, by the way, for this, because this is our lives. This is our life. On Friday, we get to talk about the current event and its impact towards Africa and African people. I also love Friday because we get to interact with so many people from all over Africa, and we get to choose topics that we find helpful, that we find to be absolutely of importance to our brothers and sisters all over. It does not have to be a topic that's found in the mainstream media. It could be just your own personal topic, so long as we have we determine that it actually has an added value, that it can add value to us, to your community, to your nation, to the continent. We can pick it up and we can pass it through. So welcome, welcome, welcome to all of you live, but also those of you who will watch or listen to this program long after it's gone. I want to give you a huge welcome as well. This is our family. This is our little family affairs as Africans, as people all over who have been marginalized for centuries. It's about time that we take back what is rightfully ours. It's about time we take back our own inheritance. And with that in mind, guys, I want to jump right in the program for today. We are Thursdays, like I say. So we are Thursdays, like I say. So we want to talk about dominion, leadership, governorship, taking back that power, taking back the management contract that we have been given as an inheritance over Africa and African resources. So today we want to talk about remembering the Rwandan Genocide. When a leadership built on a lie has matured. And you may be wondering, why am I mixing the two? Because Rwanda has a very dark history, just like any other nation. However, today, Rwanda and Rwandese people are remembering the genocide that was committed in Rwanda 28 years ago. However, one of the things that the rest of the world, and the average person that is, we're not talking about the leadership, the governments, the intelligence community, and the spies and all of that. No, I'm talking about Uncle Joe, who's minding his own business, Auntie Nene, who's just, minding her own business. I'm talking about you guys. There is so much that you do not know about Rwanda, because all that you know about Rwanda, it's all that's been pre-packaged, pre-programmed for you to know about Rwanda. The few of you who are interested enough to know what happened to Rwanda, you find more than what's been pre-packaged for you. And that's a part of what I want to talk about today. When the leadership built on a lie has matured, there are some things that you can see that only someone who's actually have seen the full picture, or at least attempted to see the full picture, even though you can never know the depth of that full picture, you can see something of concerning. And that's what I want to talk about today. So again, today in Rwanda specifically, they have just started remembering the genocide that has been committed. Now, also this genocide has been labeled and mislabeled multiple times. Currently in Rwanda, it said that it's a genocide against the Tutsi. Okay, so I want to make sure that we also put it out there, because there is a language problem that actually causes issues to a lot of you, and I want you guys to be able to understand the difference. So the narrative of the government of Rwanda is it's that it's a genocide against the Tutsis. The Tutsis are one of the three tribes in Rwanda. So we have the Tutsis, we have the Twa, and we have the Hutus. By the way, like you may imagine, I was also born from Rwanda. That's how I know a little bit more than you. Okay, so the Tutsis is one of the tribe, and today we are remembering the genocide against the Tutsis according to how the government wants everybody to remember. Now, the United Nations on the other side, and some of these powerful nations, they have stopped trapping themselves in that frame of naming. Then they recognize the genocide, the Rwandan genocide. Why? There is a reason behind, and we'll get to that momentarily afterwards. And so, as the commemoration have started, we got speeches, we got things, different things that we do. Now, I also want to put it out there to you guys that in Rwanda they have a sanctioned memorial. They have government-sanctioned memorial. If you do not know what that means, guys, it means that there is a specific line, silver line, that everybody in the country has to follow when it comes to remembering. And we were actually talking about that yesterday and a few days back. Literally every single Rwandan person in Rwanda has to remember the same, according to how the government wants them to remember. And because of that, just yesterday I was criticizing that if you lose a brother or sister, a dad or mom, an aunt or an uncle, grandpa or grandma, and then the government steps in and tells you how to do it, how would you feel? That's my question. How would you feel? And so and now the entire memorial, which is 1 week, there is a specific 1 week that the government of Rwanda wants the people to do very specific activities. Literally, very specific activities. And those are the only activities approved that has to be carried on during this time period of memorial for the Rwandese people. And first and foremost, I find that to be very insulting, because a government cannot come in your house and tell you how to remember your loved ones who have departed or who were killed. Them coming in and tell you that they want you to remember this and that and that and that, that is because either they want you not to stir up some memories or not to go where you shouldn't go. And we are super against that. Personally, I'm super against that, but also here at Afri Dominion, we are super against that. And brings me back to why I said that when a leadership built on a lie has matured. The Rwandan government, for those of you who do not know, I just want to give you a quick background. They were rebels. They were the rebel who attacked in 1990, October 1st, 1990, and they fought for 4 years until July 19th, 1994, when now they seized the power. So from being a rebel, fighting for 4 years, and then at the very end of them taking over, the genocide takes place. And millions of people die from that point on, all the way to 3, 4, 5, 10 years later. Millions of people perished. So now, the then rebel group turned into government is here, telling you how to remember your loved one. Remember, they participated in the killing. They did the killing, and none of them has yet to face any justice anywhere around the world. They've committed so many murders. So many murders committed, literally wiping people, massacres committed, even to the extent of saying genocide. But again, I barely like to get into that bandwagon where you're playing with words. Doesn't matter, because people are already dead. What we know, it's millions of people have died. Not only in Rwanda, but also in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So with that in mind, guys, today I want to do things differently, because what I want to say right after I get you guys to listen to a speech that the president of Rwanda, as we are told, has just had a while back on him. Why is that important? I want you to pay attention. Listen to what he's going to say. Minding you that I just told you, he was a rebel leader who attacked Rwanda, killed so many people. When he seized the power, followed Rwandese refugees in the DRC, which is the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Back in the days, it used to be called Zaire. They killed many people there. Today, they following Rwandese people all over the world, making dossiers to each and every one of them, and ensuring that everybody who is still attempting to literally open up and speak gets to either be disappeared, killed, or anything that can be donated to you. It's literally manufactured on your behalf. Again, I say, fact check me on everything that I'm saying. Fact check me on everything that I'm saying. I dare each and every one of you. So with that in mind, guys, I would love your attention if you can indulge. I want you to literally listen in to the speech that he has had today, because that speech is going to tell a whole lot. And then I will come back, and then we can actually have a little brief comment about the speech, and then we will keep it moving. All right. So if they can please play the speech right quick. Thank you.
Mwiriwe neza, mwaramutse neza mwese. Bayobozi muri hano b'inzego z'igihugu cyacu, Abanyarwanda mwese, batumirwa bakuriye bahagarariye ibihugu byanyu hano mu Rwanda n'imiryango mpuzamahanga, ubundi umwanya nk'uyu biragorana wenda.
I'm reminded, guys, those of you who do not understand Kenya Rwanda, while he's still talking in Kenya Rwanda, he's greeting the people, but he will switch in English briefly after, which is the part that I would love each and every one of you guys to pay attention to, because that's what we are going to talk about as soon as he begins to speak in English.
On a day like this one, the hour, the day, the week, the year. Now we are in the 28th year, remembering. It's a moment people are speechless. Not lacking freedom to speak, as some people would want to refer to us as a country that we have no freedom to speak. That's rubbish. Just doesn't make sense. But the reason is also clear why people, just imagine the testimony we have just heard. And people being hunted down day and night for who they were, for who some of them are still today. Also imagine if those of us who were carrying arms if we had allowed ourselves to pursue those who were killing our people, indiscriminately, and also killed them. First of all, we would be right to do so. But we didn't. We spared them. Some of them are still living today in their homes, in their villages. Others are in the government, they're doing business. Some of those who are responsible, or who benefited. We didn't do that. And yet, people will have guts to say what they say about us or do against us, what they still do up to now. But let me tell you, we are a small country, but we are big on justice. And some of those are big and powerful countries, but they are very small on justice. They have no lessons to teach anyone, because they are part of this history that saw over 1 million of our people perish. They are the cause. And the Rwandans just executed, killed their fellow Rwandans. But the history of that originated where we all know, originated from that. So, the very reasons that what we suffered, what we endured here, originated from there, is the reason they cannot give us peace. They want to cover up their responsibility. They want to cover up their silence. When the millions of people here in Rwanda needed them to speak out, to speak up, to come to their help. So in the end, the story becomes that of, these Rwandans, these Africans, are just killing each other. They are killing themselves. So there is no one who is right, there is no one who is wrong. We are all the same, according to them. We are not the same. That's why we did not kill another 1 million on top of the one we lost on the hands of these criminals, some of whom are even protected, even now, by the very countries that talk about justice, that give lessons about justice. Forget about justice. Let's talk about other things. They talk about democracy. They talk about all kinds of things. As far as I know, there are 3 systems that govern the world. One is the so-called democracy. The other is what they call autocracy. The third in between, that is silent, that is powerful, is that of hypocrisy. three systems: democracy, autocracy, in between, the most powerful, very silent, effective, and that is hypocrisy. But for us, we've learned our lessons. We will carry the names anyone is going to give us. I have no problem with that. But the lesson we have learned, and the lesson of things we knew anyway from the beginning, some of us, is that it doesn't matter how far you go from here, thousands, tens of thousands of kilometers, you are not going to find people that are more important or have more important lives than us, than we are. No, there are no more important people anywhere than we are. There are no such more important lives than ours. Much as our lives were destroyed, were wasted, as this testimony given by the young man there tells us. I will say all these things just even for the benefit of our young people, that those who were born at the time are now 28. That growing must have taught them the lessons of our history, the history of this land. The land in which you find the very brave men and women, the heroes, if you will. But I have a problem with the word hero and its definition, because there is no hero in our situation like this one. And because when you are talking of heroes, you are talking of a situation that was so bad that it had to have heroes for doing what they did, the right things, the good things, to save themselves and to save others from what was wrong that was going on. But then I asked myself, maybe the best thing is not to have heroes. It is not to have that situation that produces heroes. like in our situation, how does one become a hero? And you know you've lost 1 million people over. More people were killed than could have been saved or that needed to be saved. So that means being a hero, I wish we could not have it. I wish we did not have that situation that has to produce heroes. We would be better off. And another thing I have that is problematic with that word is that you can also manufacture heroes. You can decide to baptize somebody a hero, especially when you are powerful. You can create it, and if anybody raises an argument, they are made to shut down, shut up. That's what I meant when I said the powerful are powerful, they are big, but small on justice. They even talk about freedoms. And yet, as we know, they create false stories about a people, about Rwanda, about genocide. And when you argue with the facts and you want to present facts that actually they also know, there is that power to tell everyone not to give you space to express your opinion, to answer back, to argue. And yet they are the same people who will start accusing others of lack of freedom to express themselves. What I'm talking about is not an old story in terms of when it last happened. No, it happens even today. You find a renowned newspaper in some powerful place, falsifying stories about us, about Rwandans, about the genocide, about our history. And when somebody wants to say, look, that's not correct. This is what it is. These are facts. You know, you'll find it's like they have agreed among themselves, all channels through which you could have communicated or placed a reply, not to listen to you, because they want to have what they are playing, the only thing playing in everybody's ears. But make no mistake, in this land of ours, small as it is. It has no small people. Like we did in the past, guided by the truth, by what is right, and it did not use the means we had, the possibility we had to kill those who killed our people. You know, you can imagine people who even doubt our justice system. Then you have Rwanda in our constitution, in our set of laws, having abolished death sentence, death penalty. Some of these powerful countries still hang people or electrocute them. They do that. In fact, for us to have even thought about abolishing the death penalty at a time we had so many people to justifiably hang. And these people miss that point. They miss the point that we are actually a country of justice, a country of laws. We believe in the rule of law. Because if we didn't, why do we do all these things? There is no amount of pressure. Let no one tell you lies. This we did ourselves. It's not because anybody influenced us or put pressure on us, and because who would put pressure on us when they are the ones doing the same thing? In any case. And then we have even people we have forgiven who were associated with this. What happened that we heard from in the testimony. People who were part of that, continuing to be part of that, even now, and forget that we have actually forgiven them. So they are forgiven. They had been tried by the courts, found guilty, so many years. In the middle of serving their sentence, we forgive them. Next, these are the people supposed to bring to Rwanda democracy. It's a joke. And you are doing it in a wrong place, in a place that understands many things about us, our limitations, but our power to defend and protect this land and the people of this land. Those people who go around talking nonsense every day, they should take a moment and remember a situation like this we are talking about today. That, in actual fact, also remember that it has produced different people in this land. Our children, our grandchildren, we have a duty to make sure they understand this and they are there for this land, for the people of this land. Well, but we also know many things, including our limitations. We have no power to stop it or to prevent it. But to have the power to confront it. It happens every day. But this gives us, some of us, a good opportunity to remind people of all this. I cannot end without thanking leaders of our country, the citizens of our country, the young people who still find it in themselves to be normal human beings, given what has happened to them. Like, I'm really surprised that we have so many of these who still find in themselves the energy to live the way lives should be lived as normal human beings. But the most important thing is these very hard, bad lessons should never be wasted. In the last 28 years, every year that passes makes us stronger and better people. And for being who we want to be, we shall be the ones to decide, not anybody deciding for us what and how to be. For those who keep running their false stories and imagine people could not even, I think to be fair, the majority of the people in this world recognize what happened here and give it the name it should be called. Again, but there are others who say, no, but you see, it's only not Tutsis who died, it's also others. I mean, first of all, you're just saying the obvious. In that situation, what you're saying is obvious. But I think here we're talking about something else. When people, everybody knows here, or those who want to know, there are people who are called cockroaches here. Cockroaches, the name cockroach was reserved for a specific group of people. No. So, and when they were killing cockroaches. This is what they were saying. So they were saying it publicly. So to say that it was a genocide targeting Tutsis, how can it be wrong? How can it be questioned? How can it be argued about? Unless you have something else, another problem. And this is now what gives room to all these other genocidaires to start talking about championing democracy. Their newfound breed of people who are democratic, who want to bring to Rwanda democracy, Rwanda that lacks democracy and lacks freedom of speech and lacks everything normal and human. Well, but what do you do? If somebody is insulting you, you take it. It's better not to insult back. You just absorb it and do whatever you want to do for yourself, for you. So the lessons learned for the young people, for our country in this land, is to say, let's just do for ourselves what we need to do to be what we want to be. And the rest, it's a struggle, it's a fight. We shall give it a good fight. Thank you very much.
All right, so there you have it. This is a speech that was derived, or that was given by President Kagame in Rwanda today for this 28th commemoration day of the genocide against the Tutsis, as he had stressed out. So guys, those of you who aren't aware, why did I mention this? Why did we actually bother putting an airtime of his whole entire speech? It's because one of the things that one of our motto is we literally are driven by the spirit of truth, love, and trust. And those are the benchmarks. It goes for every single one of you, including someone as powerful as the president of any nation, including Rwanda, in this case, Paul Kagame. So, very quickly, guys, and by the way, we have already asked for an extension of 30 minutes, just in case any of you want to have a saying in it, because it's very important. It's very, very important that we actually get to talk about this. And any of you want to say something, you come through and you say it publicly, and then we'd be done with it. So I don't know if you guys have listened to what he said, the president. He said a lot of things. And I have been taking notes so that those of you who are not aware, you can actually have an opportunity to think back. And I encourage you, by the way, that video is also available on social media. Thank God to social media. If you go on YouTube, you can find that video in so many other platforms. That's a speech that he had today. Why am I actually even bothering to let you know is because if you have not heard him say what he said, you can actually go and play it over and over again so that you're not going to say you didn't know. So a couple points that I'm going to talk about very quickly. He opened his speech saying that people are being hunted down for who they are and who they were. Very true. Very true. Rwandese people of ethnic Tutsis were literally hunted down for being Tutsis. Back in 1994, it literally right after the 6th, when President Habyarimana's plane was shut down, the killing started. Now, and he says, imagine if those of us who were carrying arms, if we had allowed ourselves to pursue those who were killing our people indiscriminately and also kill them. Okay, guys, I want you to know we're gonna have to bring another conversation where he's literally saying, in contrary to what he just said, that, you know what, I regret that we didn't kill them all. We just didn't kill enough of them. Publicly, he's saying not only they pursued, the so-called the genocidal, as you have heard him saying on the very last minute. However, the Rwandan government, the rebel turned into government, pursued the Rwandese people, Hutu, so to speak, indiscriminately, killed them all, as many as they could kill, in what used to be Zaire. And he, in a speech, spoke up saying that he regret not having wiped down everybody. Guys, I am aware that I'm publicly saying this because it's there. It is there. He said it himself. We are going to have to bring another program to just bring you those facts, guys. So now all of a sudden, he's growing conscience. And that's why I say when a leadership built on a lie has matured, there are some things that you cannot bury, no matter how hard that you work. And so he said, he was saying to you all, including the international community, including the institution, the world institution, who's mastered in spying business. All of you are listening. Were listening when he was saying this. He's basically telling a lie up in the open to the entire world community. I am calling it a lie because it is a lie. Not only the RPF or the Rwandan Patriotic Front indiscriminately killed Rwandan people of the ethnicity Hutus all the way to Zaire. The United States has facts, has video. There are also testimony, live testimonies, guys. This is not something I am speaking lightly. I am boldly speaking it openly. So the United States, one of the players in this game, as they call it, was aware. They knew. Not only that, in Washington, D.C., in 1996, the then ambassador, Theogene Rudasingwa, he had a meeting at the State Department when they were discussing about the refugees, repatriating them back in Rwanda by any means necessary. Do you know what has happened right after that meeting that took place in Washington, D.C. in 1996, guys? You know what happened? A lot of Rwandan refugees of Hutu ethnicity were wiped out, were killed indiscriminately. And now he's saying here that imagine those of us who were carrying arms, if we had allowed ourselves to pursue those who were killing our people. They in fact did follow them, pursue them, kill them indiscriminately. What he said that they didn't do, they actually did. But at the same time, I love how bold he is sometimes. He said that we will be right to do so because they have already done it, guys. Again, the United States is aware of this right now on April 7th, 2022. Facts. The United States is aware of it, that they have crossed the borders in the then Zaire, murdered innocent Hutus. We're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands. Up to this day, they talk about up to 3 million people who were killed. Now he is here boldly saying that, you know what, they could have killed as many people as they would have wanted to kill. They've already done killing. They've already wiped the people. They've already killed those people. And then he said, but we didn't. Lie. Straight out lie, Mr. President. Oh, Mr. President. He's telling you the people because now, after 28, he cannot differentiate a lie from the truth. Though he knows it, but he knows you, the international community. You, an average international community citizen. Number one, you don't care. This is just the news. You will digest this for just 3 seconds, 4 or 5, 1 minute at the most, and then you will forget this. It will just be like a movie for you. You know, every day you may watch 10 movies. As soon as the movie is done, it's done, and that's it. That's all that you want. You don't want nothing else behind that. But what has happened to Rwanda and Rwandese people, it's a history where millions of people were killed. It is true, millions of people were killed. Up to 4, actually. Up to 4. But those people who have died, the story that has been spinned, the story that has been packaged for your consumption, it's a different story altogether, guys. It is not the kind of story he says here that they were spared. They were not spared. Ask the United States government, ask the British government, the United Kingdom government, ask the Australians. They have videos, on record, and so is the United States. Ask the French. They have videos on the record, what sometimes they call classified. But it's not that classified, because some of those videos have been making it out here, where you can actually witness what has happened. Ask the generals from the RPA, from the Rwandan Patriotic Front, wiping out people, the whole entire region, and converting that region for a tobacco plantation. Moving on to the next thing. He said that some of them are still living today in their homes, in their villages, and others are doing business. He's talking about that they have spared the killers. They have spared those who have committed genocide in Rwanda. And they have allowed them to reintegrate with the rest of the population in Rwanda. Guys, again, there is a blurry line about everything that's spoken, especially the way it's actually packaged and and delivered to you, the international community. That is super heroic. Do you know that right now in Rwanda it is prohibited? It is prohibited for you to openly talk about ethnicity groups, meaning the Hutus, the Twa, and the Tutsis. I want to ask you right now. You heard even himself saying, let me see where I have written. He said that it was right at the very end, He was, oh yeah, there it is. And he was like, when talking about genocide against the Tutsis, he was actually pointing to the West, you, the Westerners, that you've refused to call it genocide against the Tutsis, that it's a Rwandan genocide. And he's like, I will paraphrase because that's not what he exactly said. He said, when talking about the genocide against the Tutsis, how can you even argue that that genocide has taken place? He's asking to you, Western audience. And then he goes to the extent of paraphrasing, saying it's a justifiable cause, and you know what it is, and you know what has happened. A lot of things have happened and continue to happen. And the way it's packaged, it is far off from the reality on how it happened. And the funny thing about it, the Westerners, we're talking about the governments that have helped the Rwandan Patriotic Front as a rebel to come to power. They have everything on the lockdown. They know exactly everything that has happened, which is why when he stands up in front of a microphone openly and lectures everybody who was his associates, everybody who gave him the guns, the training, it's like, my goodness. I mean, that's super bold, guys. You have to admit. For those of you, again, I know, because I want to make sure I told you, fact check what we're saying. Did you know that before the Rwandan Patriotic Front waged war against Rwanda, Kagame himself was being trained by the United States. Was being trained by the United States, sent from Uganda by Museveni to learn and to study wars. And at the same time, the United States, the United Kingdom, and all these other powers, they were also looking for ways to regain the full control of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which was then Zaire. Using the errand boy, aka President Museveni, they have donated piles of arms to Uganda. Check it out, in 1991, Uganda received so many arms, like a huge pile of decommissioned weapons, preparing for the war. This war's purpose, partially anyway, I'm paraphrasing a lot of these guys now. They had to regain the full control of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which was Zaire. Rwanda was one of the places that they wanted to go through. And President who was in power, Habyarimana, had refused to attack his bestie, his best friend, Mobutu Sese Seko, who was the president of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Refusing to do that when the most powerful nations want to take over, meant that he had to go. So through Museveni, the war is arranged. We're talking about planned, meticulously planned by these powerful nations. We're not afraid to say that. We keep on telling you guys. And do your own homework, ladies and gentlemen. These very powerful nations have armed this rebel group, the Rwandan Patriotic Front, of which Paul Kagame was leading from October 1st, 1990 up until July 19th, 1994. They waged wars, killing people indiscriminately. They have wiped out a lot of people in what used to be called Byumba, Ruhengeri, and Gisenyi. These were provinces in the northern and northeast of Rwanda. And they border Uganda because they attacked Rwanda from Uganda. Now, he is not going to tell you that, because the only thing you know about Rwanda is the Rwandan Genocide, the 100 days of indiscriminate killing, where Hutus, one of the ethnicity group in Rwanda, were killing the Tutsis. One thing that you guys must know, and you need to research, public knowledge. Do you know that the Rwandan Patriotic Front were killing with machetes other Tutsis in the country? Do you know that that has taken place? And he's here publicly telling you that they were on their very best behavior, which is so untrue. Moving on, because I don't want to stay too long on every point, but I wanted to let you know, guys, when leadership built on a lie has matured, they can be so bold and so arrogant. They don't care what they say, because they're feeding you information you won't remember in the next 30 minutes. But the very information, for me as a Rwandese person, it stays with me for life. So while for you it's just a few minutes, for me it stays with me for life. I can smell a lie from 1,000 miles away, from another fellow Rwandan, even you, non-Rwandese people. So managing a lie to the international community does not change the fact that I know the truth as a Rwandan person. I was a kid back then. I have witnessed the share of the most horrific images that anyone can wish a loved one to literally witness. But I have. And so are many, many other millions of Rwandese people. Plenty of them perished in front of me, being killed by machetes, by guns. I got a chance to test a machete myself. But thank God I'm still alive right now. So you're going to tell me and have the audacity to say some of the things you're saying just because nobody's going to have the boldness to say you are wrong and to tell the international community you were wrong. I'm going to get to that because I do agree with him on some things that he said. Let's move on quickly. He went down and said, we are a small country, but we are big on justice. My God. I mean, that lie came through my screens and I could smell it all over it. Big on justice. Let me tell you the kind of justice that we have in Rwanda, guys. Those of you who want to learn of my brother Paul. There is a conversation that we just had in Kenya, Rwanda. I'm going to have to invite one of my colleagues to come and talk to you guys. But even all of you, I mean, the whole entire international communities, you know that. In order for you to have justice, you have to have a standard. There's no such thing as a Rwandese justice is only. If justice is justice, whether it's in Rwanda, in the United States, in Canada, in China, anywhere. Same premises, same standards. Do you know that the so-called Gacaca courts, of which have notoriously prosecuted millions and millions of Hutus, have not bothered prosecuting not one single rebel, not one single Rwandan of ethnicity Tutsi who has had participation in the killings. Not one single one of them. Already, not only they are playing to be a court, they don't have the same standards. And they also literally meddling in criminal matters. In order for you to have a fair justice system, the people have to also have agreed. They have to have a trust in you. You know what it is. For there to be justice, all things has to be equal. Especially the people have to literally trust that you are going to render justice. Gacaca courts, they were not independent at all. They were set up by the same rebel group that was just fighting a war. They indiscriminately selected only Hutus. Only Hutus. The Hutus were 84% in the whole entire nation. The Tutsis were, I do believe, 14%. And then another group of Twa, they were 1%. So already that justice started off like this. Can you expect anything better? Right now there are Rwandese people who were jailed for life and have never committed a crime just because they are Hutu. That is something you call discrimination in the West. A biased court, a biased justice system. It's not. It is just laughable. They had so many speedy cases where you were not allowed to have a lawyer, where they literally asked the people to lie, commit perjury in the open. And this is the kind of justice he's saying here. We are a small country, but we are big on justice. Some of those of big, powerful country, but they are small on justice. Guys, I want you to understand the words, especially you young folk who are listening to this. He goes to say they have no lessons to teach anyone because they are part of the history that saw over our million people perishing. I love the way he puts it. It is true. And there is no better witness than him being put to stand. Right before he was a president, he was given his mandate as far as the war was concerned. Before that, to those of you who do not know, he was a vice president of Rwanda and a defense minister. As soon as he became president, that seat was abolished. The president then was Bizimana, Pastor Bizimana. He was a Hutu person. But because Kagame was not experienced in any way, shape, and form as far as managing a nation, a country, or even a department, somebody has had to be there, but he also needed some sort of power. Before that, during the war, the intelligence community let me put it this way, the English intelligence community, most of the English intelligence community, we're talking about the United States, we're talking about the United Kingdoms. Not only they financed, they provided the means and the training to the rebel groups, to the Rwandan Patriotic Front. So I'm having a hard time, guys. I'm having a hard time when you have grown, when you have had amnesia of who you were 28 years before, 32 years before. But because you, the international community, is not aware of that, you just take everything for face value, which is why we say, please dig and dig for those of you who really want to know the truth about Rwanda. He goes to say that the big nations, they do have they have a hand in it, which is so true. But how many of these big nations have received any sort of prosecutions? They could not get prosecuted because they were in the same bed. They were literally causing the same problems. Today, it's something that you would have called terrorist. You have one of the terrorists in front of you, based on the way we see terrorist groups. Also naming that these others have, they cannot have any moral, they can't come in and have the audacity to say that you're going to have lessons because they were working together. Rwandans just executing, killing their fellow Rwandans. It is true, Rwandese people killed other Rwandese people. Who were the masterminds? But he went on to say that the history originated where we all know. Meaning, we know the mastermind, we know who planned this thing. But the funny thing, you cannot all of a sudden look good and be like, they planned it. I didn't have any doing in it. I haven't had any hand in it. They were given the means, the training, the financial, and the weapons. Uganda as well. The very reason that we suffered, what we have endured here, originated from these nations. It is the reason they cannot give us peace. He went on to say something here interesting. They want to cover up their responsibility. Guys, this right here, it's the truth and nothing but the truth. Okay? It's like me and you, we go to steal at a bank. I was driving. You stole you stole the money, you brought it in the car, I saw you having it. And eventually, when you and I split, you realize that maybe I got caught at some point, and to make sure that I don't speak, you will come and silence me permanently. The cover-up is there today. It always has been there. It's been there for these past 32 years. It's juicy, it's sexy, it's an amazing story to listen to for 1 minute when you're hearing of 1 million people perishing. And there has to be a villain and there has to be a victim. The villain in this case are the Hutus. Do you know, one thing that I really want to tell you, the world community, do you know that in Rwanda, it's not the only nation with the Hutus. You have the Hutus in Burundi, which is a neighboring country. You have the Hutus in Uganda. You have the Hutus in Zaire, or the Democratic Republic of the Congo. You also have the Hutus in Tanzania. You have 4 nations that have ethnicity Hutu. And anytime you, the world community, uses the word and you say a villain was a Hutu, it is not only tenting on the Hutus in Rwanda, but the other 4 nations. Imagine to the stigma that you have been contributing to for these past 32 years, but not much more specific in these past 28 years. You also have the Tutsis in all 4 of those nations as well. So how do you know which one of those people are Rwandese versus non-Rwandese? And that's why when they went to the Democratic Republic of the Congo, back then it was Zaire, they could not differentiate Rwandese Hutus and the Hutus in Zaire. They wiped down everybody. They killed them indiscriminately. They didn't just go to Zaire. They pursue people in Uganda, in Tanzania, in Burundi, even outskirts beyond the borders of the country. We're talking about the Rwandan Patriotic Front turned government led by this Mr. Paul Kagame himself. And now he's here whitewashing everything that they have committed. the crimes that they have committed in front of the international community, and I should add, in front of the most powerful nations in the world. Why? Because they were also planning their own interest at the expense of millions and millions and millions of people who died. This is the responsibility he's referring to, that they are covering. And he makes sure that every time they're pointing finger, he's very on point to remind them that. And I'm thanking him for that, because some of the truth that's been spoken for these past 30-something years, even he can say a thing or two about it. He's like, they want to cover up their silence when millions of people here in Rwanda needed them. It wasn't just the millions of people. Not just the 1 million that the Rwandan government mentions, up to 4 million, even it goes to the extent of 15 to 16 millions in the whole entire Great Lakes region. The same silent that was there then, it still is right now. The same stakeholders in charge of the situation, including Paul Kagame and the likes. And he goes on to say that in the end, the story becomes that of, these Rwandan, these Africans, they are killing each other. Monkey this, monkey that kind of thing. And he goes to say that we did not kill 1 million on the top of what we have lost. So he knows what had happened. He wants to make sure that at least that the Rwandan Patriotic Front were so disciplined that they did not touch a single person. Not only they killed millions of people, of Rwandan people of ethnicity Hutus, they raped, they committed all kinds of atrocities. Guys, there are images we cannot pass through here. There are videos we cannot pass through here. But we also now have live testimonies of victims. We've been collecting this for the past 3 years. Live people, live brothers and sisters, live children, parents who lived back in those days. Imagine someone who was 10 years old, a girl, getting raped in front of her parents, seeing her mother getting raped, and then some of them get killed, or see their loved one being killed. We have horrific stories, guys, from Rwanda. Crimes committed by the Rwandan government that had just been promoted from being a rebel group to a government, following Rwandan refugees who are of Hutu ethnicity, wiping them all. And the rest they brought back in the country and permanently send them to jail. Those who have never received justice, those who were given what we call like a whitewash kind of justice. Bottom line, as long as you are a Hutu, you belong to jail. Taking away properties. When we say that in Rwanda it's a slave nation, we mean that, and we are publicly saying that. The policies of the rebel group Rwandan Patriotic Front turned into a government have not changed from day one. When you scrutinize everything that's happening, you can then realize to what extent the planning of everything was actually taking place, or it has taken place in. And now you guys are silent because what? He knows both of you, all of you were in the same cookie jar. I'm talking about, all these Western nations. If you provided the weapon, he knows you provided the weapon. If you provided the training, he knows you provided the training. He's a witness, just like many of them are. When you provided the logistics, he can call you out. So there won't just be any unique logistics. It's from day one to the very end. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So it will be very difficult for the West and a lot of these foreign nations to say, well, yes, we know, but. Because there are live witnesses right now in the Rwandan Patriotic Front who still know what you have done together. But they have been so strong and so smart to ensure that they use that against you, which is why you're pretty quiet right now. So he comes in and calls you out, and he tells you a lot of strong narrative, strong words, but you can't say nothing about it because it's true. All along, we keep on saying that these very powerful nations have had a hand in it. They continue to have a hand in what's happening here. But you guys think that people are smoking some ganja, some weed. They're not high. They know what they're saying, guys. And so do we. We've lived the history. We continue to live the history. He went on to say that let's forget about justice. And then he's like, let's talk about, democracy, governorship. I love this. He called them out really good. He said that the system, the world government, it's led by three systems: democracy, autocracy, and hypocrisy. Man, he was right on the money. The hypocrisy in these governments, it's by far. I mean, it stinks. You get to the point you get used to the smell. You don't even bother no more, which is what the Rwandese population right now has turned into. They've seen the lie in action. They live with the lie every single day. They even get to be killed indiscriminately. They get disappeared, and they are housed in jails, and open jails. That's the life they got used to. It used to stink, but it no longer stinks because they live in the same pit. Now, the international community also knows. It knows what's been happening for these past 28 to 32 years. But again, because of the interest of nations, they don't care, because that wasn't what they were going after first and foremost. So 3 to 14 million people can just perish. As long as we get what we want, who cares? This is the stand of the international community. That's where he comes in with the boldness of saying, you have the audacity to call me out. He's like hypocrisy at its best, truly. But remember, what came first, an egg or chicken? Your own manager is telling you, the boss, you're a hypocrite. You're preaching democracy when you're doing A, B, C, D. You got autocracy and you're blaming me for being who I am, and you have created me for who, you made me who I became. He's calling you guys out. And those of you who do not listen or who don't know what this is about, guys, you need to literally sit down and be of a sober mind and get to find out what's been happening to the Rwandese people, to the Great Lakes region for these past 32 years. The most horrific crimes against humanity taking place. And none of you have yet to come in and very objectively and from within your own hearts call out evil for evil and actually setting up the true justice for these millions of people who have perished and continue to perish today. And then he goes on, he says that he's learned a lessons, I should say. He was like, we will carry the names anyone will give us, because those names, some of them, they describe the roles and the functions you've played, Mr. President, and the Rwandan Patriotic Front. These names are not just, they didn't come out of, out of open sky. You've been working. As a manager, you've executed that which was given to you, I shall say, exceptionally. But now that the owner of the project is all of a sudden trying to put you in under the bus, you say, hold up. You came up with the plan, I only executed. I want to let you know, young people globally, not just the Rwandese people. We were children then, but when we see what has happened, it is so disgusting. And the same people who've committed these crimes, they're the same one actually teaching you what has happened, narrating the story. It goes further. You are not going to find people more important or have more important than us. I actually like this. There are no more important people, anyone than you. I understood what he said. It is saying that I'm only as important as I actually, as I protect myself to be. We as a people are as important as we choose to be. You Africans are as important as you choose to be. I'm on point on that one. And that's why here at Afri Dominion, I keep on telling you, this is our season to take back dominion of Africa. This is our season to take back dominion of Africa, not just one nation, the entire continent. What is dominion? That entails you get to govern everything related to Africa and African affairs. You get to rule, you get to master, you get to control, you get to manage the resources, everything, to the best of your ability, in the interest of the people, and by the people, not by a little teeny group. So how are you going to tell me you're going to do that if you're running errands for other nations outside of Africa, outside of Rwanda? They're the one in charge. Right now, on April 7th, 2022, Rwanda is not in charge of its own affairs. Certainly not Mr. Paul Kagame. The outsiders, stakeholders are in charge. You think I'm lying? Pull up your internet. I'll give you something you're going to look for and go read it, all of you who speak English, because it's drafted in English. I want you to go on the internet and pull up something called the Status Force of Agreement between the United States of America and Rwanda. Pull up those agreements. Those have been graciously provided by the State Department in the United States, and it's on the internet. I want you to see the agreement that Rwanda has actually gotten into with the United States under the leadership of this man, Paul Kagame. As we are told. Notice I put it in between my little, I want you to see what Rwanda has signed up for. I want you to get to know who's in charge of Rwanda right now. The same agreements are all over, not just between Rwanda and the United States, but other stakeholders much more powerful enough. He actually alluded to that a little bit. Most of you didn't get it, but he did. The man is smart. And then he goes and said, he says so many things. Let me wrap it up to what he said, and then we'll try to end the broadcast. The lessons we've learned, things we knew from the beginning. Do you listen? Things they knew from the beginning. Of course, he's going to see whether you guys are thoughtful enough to see beyond, because that's what we have to do. You are not going to find people more important or have more important than us, than we are. There are no more important people than anyone than we are. There are no such people more important in our lives than ours. Much of our lives were destroyed, as you know, as some of the people have said. We have live testimonies of what has happened. I've got testimonies, which is why, guys, I want to invite you on Wednesdays. Come and listen to these testimonies. We do this in English, French, and Kinyarwanda. It is our season. We are saying, we are writing, we are making sure that history is accounted for exactly as it has happened. Not as Mr. President would like it to be, or the other stakeholders, invisible stakeholders would like it to be. Those things hidden in due time will come in the light. Nothing that is hidden will remain hidden, guys. It's a promise from my Father, and it will come to pass. He went on and talked about, he gave a message to the young people. And he notices and he recognizes that there are now young people who are 28 years. As a 28 years old young person listening, watching to this, I want you to remember that your decision, where you decide to go in life, it's on you and you are fully responsible. Not President Kagame, not the West, not any of the stakeholders calling the shots. You are going to have to decide as to whether you want to be governed as a slave or freely, as a free citizen of Rwanda and of the whole entire Africa. Today there are nations who would rather have you stay as a slave and stay as what they want you to be, assuming the same position, same everything that they would rather have you doing at this very moment. Paul Kagame, having come out from that same background, being told what to do for 30 plus years, he got tired of it. Now, he didn't say that, I'm paraphrasing. He got tired of it. And right now, the struggle from breaking free, now that he has a little bit of strength here and there, or so he thinks, and also being able to whitewash the past that produced who he's became. It's such a difficult, daunting task. You cannot say, for instance, that, and I will read it actually because I want to jump to that quickly before we finish. Let me actually go there so that I don't have to paraphrase that. And he went and said that he had a problem with the word hero and its definition. He wants he wants a better definition of what a hero is. There's no hero in our situation like this one, which I agree. There's no single hero in Rwanda today. When it comes to the whole entire war, we've lost people, loved ones. And the people who were not supposed, who should have been lost to begin with. That, on that side, I'm in agreement with the president. When you're talking about, when you are talking of heroes, you're talking of a situation that was so bad that it had to have heroes for doing what they did, to do the right thing, the good thing that they were doing, which you don't have to be a hero to do something that is right. But what happens when you actually initiate the situation that causes the havoc, and then you become to the rescue at the same time? I want to appeal to you guys on September. Does September have 31 days? Let me see. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. September has 30 days. On September 30th, 1990, Rwanda did not have a war. The Rwandan that I remember was a different kind of Rwanda. It seemed to me like a paradise because all I knew is what I saw at home. But one thing for sure, I have never seen a police officer, and I'm not kidding you guys, I've never seen a police officer in my whole life on September 30th, 1990. I have never seen a soldier in uniform, or a soldier with a gun, or a soldier with some sort of a weapon. I've never seen a single person like that. I literally have never seen a gun in my whole life. I have never seen a bayonet. I've never heard of a bomb or any one of the weapons that make noise. All I knew is just a life of a kid, because it was peaceful. The Rwandan that I remember. That's a testimony I personally can give you right now, to be true and nothing but the truth. October 1st, not only my life has changed, but the life of all Rwandese person, but the life also of the whole entire Great Lakes region also changed. It has changed because the Rwandan Patriotic Front, with the leadership of the then Fred Rwigema, also Paul Kagame was part of the management or the offices. They had already had a plan to attack Rwanda, to take over the country, to take the leadership. And that plan was being supported. That plan was being, it has been helped. It was financed and helped. We're talking about monetary or finance. We're talking about militarily. We're talking about training, logistics, strategy. All of that stuff was given to them, was provided to them by not only Uganda, that was also the host nation, but also foreigners who wanted interest, who wanted to gain interest in the whole greater region, in the whole Great Lakes region. You literally can tell who were there because they also were there even before, but they wanted to have more than what they had. Remember, we're talking about a land far, 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 far away from their own homeland. And they're coming in your own territory, in your own land, and they cause havoc. They have a plan to destroy people, to destroy their livelihood by using one of your own people. Kagame was not just a regular Rwandese person, but he was a Ugandan citizen whose roots was in Rwanda. He was a refugee at some point in life, but his life had changed. He was an officer in the Ugandan army, which is how he arrived in the United States for training. Museveni, who was the president, who had just become a president in 1986, had sent Kagame to the United States, preparing him. And at the same time, the United States, the United Kingdom, and a few other nations, they had planned for the whole Greater Lakes region, which meant the Zaire, Burundi, Rwanda, Tanzania, and of course Uganda. 5 nations, they want to have a hand in what goes in there. And then, make it even bigger and broaden it. Now, the mastermind, what needed to take place in the Great Lakes region, now it's been falling apart. They've never anticipated that people like us, young people, children who were never there, but now we are the grown ones. We are grown-ups. Now we can see evil that was committed, evil that was pre-planned before a single person could die, could lose their lives. From 1990, October 1st, up until right now, can you count how many people have lost their lives? Would you be able to count how many people have lost their lives in the Greater Lakes region, where President Museveni, has been the president since 1986, where Paul Kagame has been in charge since 1994. And some of these other presidents also. What's wrong with this picture, guys? That's what we want you to see. Because the unity and what we are arriving to today, it's a crucial moment, guys. It's bigger than a pivot point. For those of you who can understand me, young people, especially now the oldest child is 28 years today, or from the time that it all started. Those of you who were alive today, or who were born, you are 28 today. Yesterday, there are some of you who had a birthday, but you cannot celebrate because that's when they shut down the plane carrying two sitting president of Rwanda, Juvenal Habyarimana, and then president of Burundi, Cyprien Habyarimana. Up to this very moment, zero justice rendered. I talked about that yesterday briefly. But because they are Africans, who cares? Who cares? These powerful nations which Kagame is referring to, they've decided that they had to go. And they literally killed them. They provided the means, the training, and of course they had to get a body, someone to carry out, to carry the out. And they did have that person. And right now, because now we are talking, it's going to be very difficult to appear in front of you to tell you that, oops, it was us who did it all along. Because they have never thought of a place where communication will be this easy, where we could actually have an opportunity to have declassified information before it was 25, 30, 40 years, like they were accustomed to. It was before those, the leaks, the WikiLeaks kind of era. Today, information it's in so many places. The rate by which the information is shared, it's so incredible. There is no such thing as a secret, as a classified information. It is only classified to the extent that who has the key to it chooses to release the information. And a whole lot of information about what has happened before October 1st, 1990 up until today, it's out in the open. All the nations who are stakeholders, all the presidents of those nations, dignitaries, people of very high positions, they are right now nervous because now for the first time we are saying you have criminals in suits, in charge of nations, in charge of the most sensitive institutions that this world have ever known. And they're the one in charge. And they're the one who have committed some of the most horrific atrocities of 19th, 20th century, of the 20th centuries, I should say that. So we've got a lot of work to do, not just as Rwandese people, not just as African, but the whole entire global community. We've got a lot of work to do. But going back to you, brothers and sisters, there's so much, guys, here. There's so much. And I am told that I got to wrap it up in 3 minutes. I agree with him quickly that he said that he wished that there was no situation that required to produce heroes. That is so true, because millions of people, the price was the killing of millions of people, up to 15 million today. Not just in one nation, but about 5 nations combined. The whole entire East African community. The East African community, actually specifically now the Great Lakes region, have lost more than 15 million people because of a war that started October 1st, 1990. A war where countries like the United States, countries like the United Kingdom had provided means, logistics, finances, and all of that. European nations, the Russians, the 5 most powerful nations have had a hand in what we are doing, in what we are commemorating today, the genocide of Rwanda. Which is why when Paul Kagame, as a president, when he says that when we talk about genocide against the Tutsis, that you have a problem with that, because they know that not only Tutsis were killed, that the entire population in the African Great Lakes region was wiped out. 15 million of them, and still counting. How many tribes are those that were wiped out? And I want you to remember from today, you have the Hutus population, not just from Rwanda. So when you say that the Hutus are genocidaires, you're talking about all those people, because you would not be able to differentiate a Hutu from Rwanda, a Hutu from Uganda, a Hutu from Tanzania, a Hutu from Burundi, a Hutu from Zaire, or the now Democratic Republic of the Congo. That's a stigma that you're passing around, and the minute you hear keywords Hutu, you automatically see a villain. And that one can be killed at any given time. Anyway, my time's up. There was so much I wanted to say. I want to ask that you guys give us some feedbacks. And I also want to really be thankful to the Rwandese community, and also our condolences. I would not finish without saying that This is a year where truth has to prevail. Doesn't matter the cost, but truth has to be the truth. Nothing but the truth. The kind of the truth that when you go to court, they tell you, do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth? That's the kind of truth that we want to actually talk about. That's the kind of truth we want to render today, especially for these 100 days ahead and going forward. So if you're bold enough to tell the truth, if you're bold enough to come clean, whether you've been a criminal, whether you've been in government and have executed the most horrific commands, you got to come forward. Whether you were a Rwandan person or a foreigner, meaning another non-national from Rwanda, and you've had a hand in what has happened, come forward, come speak up and tell the truth. Because this truth is going to not just free you, but it's also going to give closure to so many families who have yet to have closure. Last but not the least, I want to appeal to our brothers and sisters from all over Africa that when you see a situation that created the worst humanitarian crisis where lives have perished, millions of them, and you see a person like Paul Kagame, President of Rwanda, or representing Paul Kagame as President of Rwanda, telling you some of the things that he said here. And most of you have little history of who he is or how he became to power, how he became to be. I really, really would love it that you go back and study. Study Paul Kagame, study Rwanda, study Africa. We are manipulated every single day. We are being manipulated. We've been manipulated for centuries, for decades. I believe that it's about time we take the full responsibility of our own selves. You included. Stop blaming these nations for what has happened. Blame yourself. Let's blame ourselves first for allowing it to happen to begin with. For allowing some of our own people to come in and betray all of us. And allow outsiders to come in and actually kill us together. It's going to be hard, but that's why we have to do it. We got to get it done. So thanks to all of you guys doing what you're doing right now. We are super grateful. Here at Afri Dominion, I want to assure you guys, we are going to literally push the envelope and tell the truth and nothing but the truth. And with that in mind, guys, I am told that we gotta go. And thanks to all of you, especially the networks that have extended the time to, for this broadcast, for this special broadcast. Even though most of you are still afraid, I really want to encourage you to come and speak up. We know that it's tough, we know that it's hard, but we still have to say it. We still have to discuss what we have to discuss. This year has to be a year of true liberation of Rwandese hearts and Africans as well. You cannot live a lie for all this time and then also pass on inheritance of a lie to your child, to your grandchild, and then to the generation to come. We are saying no to that. And we are unequivocally saying, hell no. It's not going to happen. So whatever happens, it happens, but we're not going to live a lie, knowing that it's a straight out lie from the pit of hell. So thank you so very much for all the networks who have actually made this broadcast a reality, a possibility. We are super grateful. I want to say in particular HMG Network and the affiliates, you've done so well. This is incredible because we didn't have a means before, but now we do. So we have to use the means as efficiently as possible, but also we've got to make sure that we push the envelope all the way to any boundaries that we can reach. We are going to go there. And a huge thanks to also our technicians who have actually made it possible that this broadcast goes through. Thanks to the social media who normally cuts us out. Really, thanks to Google and thanks to Facebook in particular, because they are two of the biggest platforms, social media platforms. Oftentimes, you cut us out publicly, and you disconnect the broadcast when we're talking about some of the most sensitive issue. But I'm grateful that today you actually allowed us to broadcast on your platform. We are super grateful for that. Please allow us to keep on broadcast. We speak publicly, we speak openly. Anytime we have something that you do not agree with, come publicly and correct us. And we would actually also literally apologize to the entire world community for any errors, because we're not perfect after all. But we are so grateful for this opportunity that you have also extended to us. We recognize that you didn't have to, but you allowed us to actually to be on your platforms as well. So a huge thanks to you guys. And keep on coming around. The truth is not always what you think it is, guys. And we have decided to come publicly, to have this show publicly, so that we can actually start becoming not just accountable, but also responsible for everything that we are doing. So I will end it there. And again, a huge thanks to HMG Network and those affiliates station who have literally broadcasted this signal all over the world. We are super grateful. I am Freeman Singirankabo with Afri Dominion. I want to say thank you to all of you guys, and we are hoping that you can actually come and be with us for these next 90 plus days. We've given ourselves 100 days to talk about the Rwandan Genocide and its aftermath in a way that you've never heard of it before, because the truth and the testimonies, it is not what you think it is. There is a truth that you've never heard. That's going to be sometimes disturbing, because when you hear of it and you realize that you've been living a lie, it might be very disturbing to some of you. But it's also a healing. It's a healing process. It's a healing opportunity, not just for us Rwandese people, but also our brothers and sisters from all over Africa, even I would dare say the rest of the world as well. So with that in mind, thank you so much. Let me not eat any more of the airtime that we have been so graciously given. Until we see you again next time, have yourself a great day. And thank you so much. Peace for now.